You were reading to find out new information about how light waves travel. So we know they travel in waves. We know that light travels very, very fast. What new information did we learn in this chapter about it as well? But we've kind of talked about it a little bit too. Viola. That is okay.
Light waves travel from a source in straight lines that spread out in all directions.
So fabulous. We read at the bottom of that first paragraph that light waves travel from a source in straight lines that spread out in all directions like rays. Very good. And that on the picture in page 13, we can use that picture to help us understand this a little bit as well. Everybody find where those light rays come together and put your finger on that. You can see that they all come from one main source, and the light is traveling out in straight lines as if the rays. So even if you think of your hand as the light source and you put your fingers out, those are like the rays coming off of it as well. So traveling in those straight lines directly out from it. Go ahead and turn the page and we'll continue reading together. On page 14 and on page 15, well, page 15 we can look at first. We have this picture. Take a moment to observe the picture. Put your book flat on your desk so I know you're following along. You're not even on the correct pages. Read the caption with me. How do you know that the glass in the skylight is transparent? So they're asking about that word transparent. As you guys, we've already talked about it, but as you guys read page 14 today, I want you to read to find out what transparent means. So be using text evidence to find the meaning of that word transparent today, okay? We've already talked about it. You're looking for the text evidence piece to what transparent means. Sound good? When you're finished reading, we'll talk about it a little bit more. Go ahead and read. Third graders, I asked you to read to find out what transparent means. Find where it talks about it on your text and put your finger on it today. We're going to find the meaning of transparent in which paragraph? The second paragraph. It says, if something that is transparent, most of the light will pass right through it. We talked about some examples of transparent earlier. The text lists a few more examples. What are some more examples of things that are transparent, where light will pass right through it? Apollo. Water. Water is transparent. Chloe. Glass. Glass is one example we talked about, but again mentioned in our text today. Glass is transparent. And the final one mentioned, Alexa. Air is also transparent. We can see right through it. Very good. We know that glass is in the skylight up here in that picture. We know that glass that is transparent because why?
Because it's glass.
Well, more than that, when you look at that picture, what do you see? You see the sky. You're looking up. Can we see the sky right now?
No.
No, what our ceiling is opaque. We cannot see through it at all. If we were to look out, now our windows are a little hard right now because they're covered by our screens. But if we had the screens up, they are transparent. We can see through them. We can see what's beyond that surface. You can see the sky and the clouds in this picture, which definitely helps you along the way. I would like you now at this point, kind of a little jump to, go ahead and take out your activity notebooks, please. In your activity notebooks, open up to page 29. What page are we looking at? 29. On page 29, we have some lab notes. So we're going to take some more notes from our reading today, and we're going to be looking at the cause and effect when light hits different types of objects. So this goes right along with what we did to start our reading today. And we come across the word transparent. Underneath it, they want us to give an example of something that is transparent. Did we read some examples today? Yes. Underneath examples, I want you to go ahead and write down examples of transparent. I want you to write down what it means if it is transparent. and evidence right here. So just these two boxes are the ones we're going to start with. So examples of transparent, what page you found it on. And I want you to write down, what does that mean? What does that word transparent mean? Go for it. Zena, what is an example of something that is transparent? Air. She's probably, my brain is not working. Air. Grayson. Glass. And Emery. Water. We came up with some others as well earlier today, but those are great. What page did we find that on today? 14. Fabulous. That's that text evidence page. According to our text, what did transparent mean? Ray. You can see through it. Yeah, sure.
About light can go through.
Nope, because there are other things the light can go through as well without being able to be see-through. So you have to be able to see through it, not just light going through it. You have to be able to see through it. Like when I held up that wax paper today, light went through it, but I couldn't see through the wax paper. So that was not transparent.
Well, what if those curtains would be transparent?
We cannot see through them. Okay, third graders, we will do these last two boxes later on when we have a little bit more time. Sound good? Let's go ahead and jump back to our reading. We are now going to be on page 16 and 17. What pages?
16.
Yes, Anna.
What is the whole here?
Opaque. Good. So on page 16 and 17, we are going to be reading a little bit more about that idea of transparent. Everybody take a moment to read the caption to yourself on page 17 before we read it together. Zena already asked, what is that OP word? That is the word opaque. What's our word?
Okay.
It's kind of a different one. It's one you kind of just have to see and know. Opaque. Let's read it. Are people's bodies transparent or opaque? How do you know? So even before we read, we can answer this question because we know transparent means you can
See through it.
Well, can you see through your body?
No.
No, that is so silly. So are you transparent?
No.
And if those are our only two options between transparent and opaque, then obviously you are opaque. Very nicely done. Let's go ahead and read to find a little bit more about what it means if something is opaque. The answer to the question, are we transparent or opaque?
Okay.
How do you know that we are in fact opaque? Claire. We can't see through ourselves. What does it mean if something is opaque? Brock. You can't see through it. So looking at our text, we see in that first paragraph, do you guys see where it says if light hits something that is opaque, the light is absorbed and blocked by the object. So if something is opaque, it can't make it through it. It's absorbed by it and it's blocked by it. Does the path of light continue if it hits something opaque? No, it is blocked. It is stopped if it hits something opaque. I want you to turn and tell your neighbor one thing that's transparent in our classroom or in your home, one thing that is opaque in your classroom or your home. This is a 10-second talk. Go.
Okay, so opaque in my home is my house, and opaque in the classroom is
3, 2, 1. We're going to shift back to our activity notebook again in page 29. What are some examples of things that are opaque? Charlie.
cardboard.
Cardboard. Chloe. Yep, your body. Cooper. Wood as well. All things we read in our text that are opaque. You may list other things as well, but what page did we find that on?
16.
Fabulous. If something is opaque, according to our text today, what does it mean? Haley. You cannot see through it. Now, even more important than that, if it is opaque, light is absorbed and blocked. And that's what we need to remember, that if it is opaque, light is absorbed and blocked. You can't see through. It's important that the light is absorbed and blocked. And the reason I mention that is because there are going to be items where light can get through, but you can't necessarily see through it. Like light gets through our blinds, but we can't necessarily see what's beyond them. That's going to be that semi-transparent, where you're going to get some light, but not as much. It's not completely see-through. But that's also not completely opaque, where light is being completely blocked. So we need to know that when it is opaque, light is absorbed and blocked, and you can't see through it. We'll get to the other two pieces in a little bit. Let's jump back to our text. We turn the page. We are on page 18 and page 19. Let's go ahead and read this. Take a moment to read it to yourself, and then we will read this page together since it is so very short. Sit up and participate, please. Let's listen to our classmates as we are reading together so that we are together and not crazy monsters reading. Ready? The shadow created by blocked light takes on the shape of the object. Can you guess the object or objects that are making the shadows in these images? Fabulous. So we can go ahead and look at them. That very first one, what's making that shadow?
An airplane.
An airplane. So the airplane's in the sky. The sun is above it. And that airplane's blocking the sun from reaching the ground then. And we get the shadow of the airplane. This second picture, this is where I need to be right now. What is creating that shadow? A palm tree. Again, the sun is in the sky. The sun cannot reach the ground because that palm tree is in the way. That opaque object is in the way, creating a palm tree shadow. The next one is a person with a ladder. Very good. The person is in the way, and the light is not able to make it to the ground. It is blocked by the person.
It might be a bike item.
Maybe. And last but not least, we have the bicycle wheel. Very good. Where we know that that bicycle is blocking the light from reaching the ground, so causing that shadow to happen. Fabulous. Let's go ahead and turn to the next page in our reading and wrap this up today. I'm going to have you read these final 2 pages to yourself to find the answer to the question. Why are the shadows different sizes in each of these images? So we have both of these images. You're going to read to find out why are the shadows different sizes. From our reading, why are those shadows different sizes? It's the same object. They're both balls. So why are the shadows that are created different sizes? Kaylin. Okay, if the object is farther away from what? If the object is farther away from the light source, the shadow gets
Bigger.
the shadow gets smaller. If the object is closer to the light source, the shadow gets bigger. So it's going to be that distance away from the light source is going to create the different sized shadows as well in that. Yes, Ray? Okay, fabulous. Third graders, we are going to wrap up the reading section for today. Go ahead and we're going to take just a few minutes. On your workbook pages, it says what happens, draw a picture. Take 2 minutes to do the what happens, draw a picture piece. For what happens, You're just explaining if light were to shine on an opaque object, what happens? If light shines on a transparent object, what happens? We did this in class today, so you should be able to have that background knowledge of what happens when light shines on those, and then just draw a quick picture, a quick sketch.